Once again, it is Canada Day here in the nation's capital. And instead of being outside with all the fireworks and the heat and the humidity, I am in here fiddling around with computers, starting with this, the HP DV8000. This, let me go ahead and unplug it here for a second. This has got what I believe is 1 gig of RAM. I might be able to upgrade it. Might be 2. I actually am not positive on that one, but I might even be able to bring it up higher than that, depending upon what I've got in my spare stash. I could probably also rob a couple of the other machines that have memory to pay this one. Apparently I can't get that off. Wow, yeah. Okay. Here we go. So, I guess it's got this little shield over top of the RAM. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if that's supposed to be there, or if that's something that was added. The screws aren't coming out. So this could be interesting. Hold on a second. Okay, well now we've learned a couple things. First of all, I'd like to point out that this uses Mini PCI instead of Mini PCI Express. So it's old enough that that's standard. And these are DDR memory modules, which I do not have any extras of. So I can't upgrade it anyway. Fortunately, it's got 2 gigs of RAM in it, so that's not a big deal. I hope it's all good. Here are the 2 hard drives. This is the more interesting. 320 gigabytes in the IDE form factor. I think that was about as big as they got for IDE. But I'm not positive on that. I think you might have been able to get 500s, but that was about as big as they got. For laptops, at least. Is this the original drive? It might be close, but I'm not sure on that one. It is a Seagate, 100 gigabyte. I don't see an HP number on it though, so maybe not. I'd like to point out this. It lists jumper settings. How many times have you seen jumper settings listed for a laptop hard drive? Usually they don't. This one certainly doesn't list it. But there's the 2 drives. I won't be doing any upgrades to those because I frankly don't have any IDE laptop hard drives sitting around that would be an upgrade for this. I think the only IDE laptop drive I've got extra is like a 60-something gigabyte. Might not even be that. It might only be like 10 or something. It's a rather small drive that came out of one of my proteges that no longer functions. So, one of the old machines. Anyway, let's get this thing fired up. You'll have to forgive me. I forgot to do this while the video was on previously. Let's go ahead and show off the ports. It looks like PCMCIA or Express card. I can't tell which. It doesn't have a blank in it. Well, it does have a blank in it, but it's stuck, so I can't get that out. Looks like a multi-card reader there. Firewire. 2 USB ports. Expansion port 2, whatever that means. Some proprietary thing. Ethernet, S-video out, VGA, power. I don't think there's anything. Oh, there is something on the back. Looks like modem and Kensington lock. And on the other side, you have the optical drive. 2 more USB ports. Another slot there. And your headphone and microphone. Wow, is that ever out of focus? There we go. So we'll fire it up. I'll remember that F10 is the key to get into the BIOS this time. And there we go. So, well, that's interesting. Oh, 2 gigs, yeah, 2 gigs. So I guess it's using 80 megabytes for the AGP aperture. Here you can see Turion 64, 2 gigahertz, DV8000. Is that actually correct? I wonder. That's correct. Well, it's 4 minutes off, but that's close enough that I don't really care. And I'll have to check for an updated BIOS as soon as I boot this thing into Windows, because most of that updating stuff only happens under Windows anyway. Device security. Floppy boot. And it's kind of funny to see that. Drive lock passwords and all of that. It's not really worth paying much attention to. Video graphics mode, UMA and side port. What options does that give us? Side port. That's a rather interesting thing to say for that. Dedicated video memory, 128 megs. How high can we put this? 128 looks like it's as high as it goes. So you can give it a maximum of 256 megabytes of video memory. You can have a look at our boot order, make sure that's actually correct, which it isn't. So let's see. F6 or F5? Oops. So there's our boot order. Looks like it's using the 320 as the primary master. That's rather interesting. Let's see what happens if I set the slave to boot first. Because of course that's the drive I want to boot off of. Probably going to screw it up by changing that boot order. Accessibility options. F10 delay seconds. I might give that a little bit longer. We can give it a maximum of 4. That's an odd maximum. Huh. Wireless LAN enabled, everything there otherwise should be fine. We can test both hard drives, but I'm going to leave it at that. Now let's see if it screwed up the boot order. I think it did. That light in the middle, if you're wondering, is actually for the wireless. Now that you can see it. Here you go. 4-second delay to start. Looks like it really didn't matter much. So we'll boot into Windows, have a look at what's going on with this Windows install, and check for updated BIOS and all of that. And we'll decide what I'm going to do with this thing. Okay, so we got a couple of things going on here, as I'm sure this fan is absolutely destroying the microphone on this camcorder. This is the Windows information. And that's the second time I've been interrupted in the middle of making a video today. But anyway, look at that system rating. Ouch. There you can see Turion ML37 at 2 GHz with 2 gigs of RAM, running 64-bit Windows, which, I don't know, is kind of a waste. And of course, I've changed all that information. I wonder if it's actually activated. It looks like it's activated, so okay. I might leave it with 64-bit on it, although I really don't like to do that because it's only got 2 gigs of RAM. And I already have the device manager open, didn't I? We got a couple missing devices. Most notably the sound. That shouldn't be too difficult to fix. I'm going to uninstall all the programs I don't want, which would be pretty much everything that is installed. I don't need AC/DC, and I don't need Firefox, because they're both... AC/DC is okay. I might leave that one alone. Ooh, updates. Look at that. Cool. That one's not getting installed. Definition update for Defender, and the rest of this is not getting installed either. So, all of that should be fine. So we'll just go ahead and we'll install all of that. Anyway, I might leave AC/DC alone. I probably will. But certainly Firefox, I don't need that. So I'm going to just do away with that. And I'll come back. Most notably after I've looked for drivers for this. Okay, I just plugged in a USB device. This over here is going crazy. It looks like it sees it, so that's good. Or at least it mostly sees it. So all I need to do is go in here, DV8000. I'm going to install the sound. Hold on. How long is that going to take? That might take a little bit yet. I'll go ahead, even though this is a Vista driver, I'll run their setup program and see what happens. Macro Vision. Remember them? Let's see if this actually works. I will laugh. So it probably would have probably be a little better if it wasn't coming straight off the USB stick. Wow. That's actually going to try and work. Only Vista. Yeah, just watch me. Okay, looks like it found it. So I don't need their damn software to install it. Now, will it work? That, I think, is probably the better question. I see this is going to work really well. Maybe I should not bother and just make it a straight Linux machine. Okay, as you can see, I pretty much gave up on Windows. That never came up. The installer, it never worked for the audio. So I'm going to see if the audio works under Linux. And if it does, then I'm just going to use Linux because I do not have the patience or the time to deal with this crap. So, Linux Mint, which is probably what's going to go on here anyway, since I do plan to actively use the machine. And I'll probably put Linux Mint Debian Edition on it. Don't know what desktop environment. I might try something a little new with regards to the desktop environment. As long as it's not Cinnamon. Let me put the password in here. Okay, like I said, I'm not a fan of the Cinnamon desktop. I don't like it. It's way too glitzy. Doesn't offer nearly as much functionality as it really should. I think it's gotten a little better since they first introduced it. It was total crap when they first introduced it, which was around the time that GNOME 3 came around. GNOME 3 was garbage. It still is garbage. I can't believe anybody uses it. I just heard sound, though, so I think that works. Yep. That works just fine. Cool. So, let me connect that to my network and see if I can get it up. We can get that all working. Okay. Check this out.
Hello there, everyone. I'm UXW Bill. Welcome
Sound works
to
great.
Another highly exciting episode of
Let's get some motion.
Episode of UXW Bill's Goofy Gadgets Corner.
See if I can get
Now,
some
while the
motion.
laser level itself certainly seemed to be brand new,
There we
if we
go.
take a closer look at this, you'll see that it looks to have been around the block a few times. My guess is that this was probably someone's garage sale reject and their way of re-gifting.
And that's a that motion kind of looks strange. But it plays. That's good enough for me. So that's not bad, really. Let's see if I can find a video with some more motion in it.
Hello there, everyone. You have tuned in UXW Bill, and yet again I find myself with the house all to myself, which means that I can leverage not only use of the kitchen, but also the kitchen table for my nefarious video-making purposes.
Remember when I said about running out of videotape? Well, at least I had the decency to run out when it wasn't mid-sentence. But we're back. I just finished playing this video, and it actually is working quite well, which is kind of a surprise. So, I think that's okay. And you know what? I'm going to leave Cinnamon on here. I was going to change it over to something like Linux Mint Debian Edition, but I think I'm going to save that for one of my other machines that I picked up. And instead, I'm just going to update this. So, welcome to the Update Manager. Well, let me review sensitive updates. That's okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll let it run. And we'll run all the updates. Okay, we got a couple of upgrades for the system. So we'll go ahead and install all of those. After presumably entering my password in for the third time now. And that, my friends, is why I do not like the Cinnamon desktop. Okay, So, here's the progress I've made. I now can't even open up a menu. What the hell? Useless desktop environment. Totally useless. I can't believe it still exists. It should have died before it even came out. Or at least rewritten from scratch by people who understand how the world works.
What is wrong with these people?
Okay, so I am now doing what I should have done to begin with. I have got a Linux Mint Mate disk up right now, and it is running just fine, or at least it would be if it wasn't running off of a slow-ass CD. Looks okay, there's nothing out of the ordinary, my desktop environment is working. There is one thing I do want to point out that is out of the ordinary, so I kind of misspoke a little bit there, got a little ahead of myself. My wireless is off, and I can't turn it back on. System is ignoring me entirely. I can push and hold the button, and nothing happens. So I bet this is going to go about as well as I expect it to. I don't know why the wireless isn't working. There's really no reason for it to not be working, but it isn't working. Alright. Ready to reboot. If it'll actually do so. Check it out. See if everything works. I will be surprised. I will be very surprised. I can hear a startup sound. I still don't have any wireless. So that's working great. Let me see if I can get that started. I love easy solutions. What I had to do was install the Broadcom firmware, which is kind of annoying because I did, after all, select that it should install this during the installation process. So I have no idea what it screwed around with during the installation process. Welcome, it says. Okay. Cool. Please set up system snapshots. Oh, look! This is a very nice feature that it should have had right from the very beginning. Wouldn't have had to reinstall the whole operating system if that was the case. Looks to me like they've actually gotten rid of the various levels for updates, and they just give you everything now. I don't know how I feel about that. I've also noticed that it's quite a bit flatter, sort of like Windows and Mac OS have gone. Again, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's not like it was over the top with all the glass effects to begin with anyway, and it was the Cinnamon desktop if you wanted more glamour than functionality. Alright. Funny, now it asks me to switch to a local mirror. And it wants a password. Nice. Anyway, like I was saying, that process is now done. So the only thing really left to do is to reboot the machine, make sure it still works. And then I should be able to wrap up this video and move on to the next machine. Shouldn't really have even taken this long. I'm going to cut off the video now. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off, and I hope to see you next time. Till then, I got other things to do.